So this is a thinking of playing preview of the Command Magazine game, Krim, von Manstein's Battles for Sevastopol, 1941 to 1942, or Crimea. Issue number 6, published in 1990, September, October 1990. Ty Bomba design, Mark Simonich map, and Larry Hoffman layout and counters. This is an operational strategic simulation of the German 11th Army's operations in the Crimean Peninsula from late October 1941 through 4 July 1942. As Field Marshal von Manstein remarked in his memoirs, this campaign was noteworthy in World War II because, quote, it is one of the few cases where an army was still able to operate independently in a segregated theater of war, left to its own devices and free of interference from the Supreme Command. It was a campaign which, in 10 months of incessant fighting, included both offensive and defensive battles, mobile warfare with full freedom of action, a headlong pursuit operation, landings by an enemy in control of the sea, and an assault on a powerfully defended fortress. So the game scale, each hex on the map is approximately 7.5 miles or 12 kilometers from side to side. The game consists of 8 months, each of which contains 1, 2, or 3 player turn couplets. We've got a very simplistic or minimalist utilitarian map here. We have just the Crimean Peninsula. We have Junkoy in the north, obviously down to Sevastopol and Yalta in the south, from Evpatoria in the west, and east to Kerch. Sea of Azov and Black Sea, obviously on the map as well. Very, very simple map. Rail lines, no roads of note. Just the rail lines here. And this brown terrain is broken. And we have some hills here, the Yalta Mountains. We have some marsh. We have some fortifications down here to the northeast and east of Sevastopol. Here's the Chernaya River, the Kacha River, Alma River. That is, well, we have some entrenchments on the map. Parpak over here in the east. And that is pretty much it for the terrain, other than towns. Have a turn record track on the top of the map here, terrain effects chart, combat results table, Soviet quick reaction forces, Soviet reinforcements available, terrain key, and that's about it. We have different types of units in the game. Infantry, NKVD regiment with the standard attack factor, defense factor, movement factor on the bottom. We have paratroops, German parachute brigade there. We have an ad hoc battalion or task force sized flak unit there. We have headquarters unit, So we have, let's take a standard German Army Infantry Division. So we have the 22nd Division there, unit ID on the right, the stacking value or steps, number of steps on the left there. So this is a 2-step infantry division. Again, attack factor of 4, defense factor of 5, movement factor of 6. And we have a armor unit. Some armor units here. Here's an armor regiment. Have artillery regiment. A three-step infantry division there, 132nd. For nationalities, so for the Germans or the Axis, we have black on green for the Romanian army, black on sky blue for the German Luftwaffe, white on black, German Army mechanized units, and black on field gray, the German Army non-mechanized units. And for the Soviet side, white on red, take a mountain infantry or mountain rifle unit. The Soviet 9th Mountain Rifle Division. This is obviously a one-step unit because it has no number on the left-hand side of the unit type symbol. The Soviet white on red, red on white, it says Soviet elite guards. It's like a rocket unit. Guards rocket artillery. And say Red Army Infantry or Rifle Division, 388th. You have out of supply markers, aircraft units, you also have assault boat units. Right. The terrain effects chart has different values for mountain units, different values during mud turns, some modifications for Germans defending and captured Soviet fortifications, or I should say a rule note about that. Combat effects. This uses the effects are ACR and DCR. That is assaults. Yeah. So the terrain effects, for example, the broken terrain. According to the rules, there's a +1 ACR. That means to add 1 to the attacker's combat result, not the die roll. No mobile assaults in broken terrain. Hills, also +1 ACR, no mobile assaults. Mechanized units attack factors halved when attacking into hills. So back to the terrain effects chart on the map. No mobile assault into +1 ACR. Again, attacker's combat result. Mech attacking into is halved. Marsh, no mobile assaults. Mechanized units attack factors halved when attacking into marsh. Artillery units barraging into marsh fire at half strength. Ignore all these effects in frost months. Treat as clear terrain. Okay, so most of these combat effects are in the form, again, of +1 ACR, -2 DCR, -1 DCR, and then ×2 defense factors. Yeah. Defense factors and ×3 defense factors. As you can expect, those are for fortifications in Sevastopol. Okay. The combat results table, odds columns. It does have 1 to 3 up to 10 to 1. Just a 1 6-sided die for result. Nothing above or below that, just 1 through 6. The results, as you can see, are a split cell presentation and with results for attacker and defender. So is there a separate section for combat results, effective results? Combat results. Okay, combat results. The result to the left of the slash applies to the attacker, right to the defender. All right, so the rules again. Quick skim of the rules. We have again game components. We do have range for artillery units. A second number printed above and to the right of their attack factors represents the number of hexes the unit can fire. Alright, set up hex and hex control. Okay, turn sequence. So a game of Crimea is divided into 8 calendar months, each of which contains 1, 2, or 3 player turn couplets. Each couplet is divided into 2 player turns, each of which is subdivided in several phases. Players take actions within the appropriate phase. Okay. So, a game turn begins with a mutual operational supply check. By the way, before I forget, this game does have a nice, very nice, extended or expanded expanded turn sequence and rule summary. Very nice full page. Definitely something to review before playing. So there's a mutual operational supply check, start of the month only. Then there's a Soviet player turn, and that has 4 phases: new units phase, operational transfer phase, movement phase, and prepared assault phase. Then we go to the German player turn, which is very similar: new units phase, operational transfer phase, then a movement and mobile assault phase, and then prepared assault phase. And then there's a mutual operational supply check at the end of the month only. So looking again at the rules summary and expanded turn sequence. Tracing supply. Use a line of hexes, free of enemy units. They do have operational and tactical supply. separate. They're handled separately. Operational transfers. Units can use op-trans to move any distance across the map, but must stop if moved next to an enemy unit. Unit must be in tactical supply at the instant they conduct op-trans. Soviet reinforcements crossing the Kerch Straits may move using op-trans. And there's no op-trans for either side during the first calendar month. Okay. Supply. So again, you have operational supply sources, tactical supply sources. So for example, for the Soviets, their operational supply sources are Sevastopol down here in the southwest, Kerch in the east, Feodosia, quick reaction Soviet reinforcements available boxes. Their tactical supply sources are Sudak. These locations on the map. Alushta, right here, for example, next to Yalta. Yalta and Evpatoria in the west here. And then Germans have operational and tactical supply sources as well. Replacements, reinforcements, and withdrawals. There are German and Romanian reinforcements, Soviet reinforcements, and there's a 22nd Panzer Division withdrawal. Stacking is by unit size. Okay, so steps are used for losses. Stacking is measured by military unit size. You do have the Soviet holding boxes. Okay, movement and operational transfers. And then you have mobile assaults, a special form of combat which occurs during the movement phase. The units pay triple the normal MP cost to enter a hex to conduct a mobile assault. Otherwise, combat is resolved normally. The unit may make more than one mobile assault per movement phase if it has sufficient movement points to do so, but must cease movement if it absorbs any combat result as a retreat. All German mechanized units, including the 300th Panzer Regiment, may make these mobile assaults. German infantry, Jaeger, and combat engineer units may make mobile assaults when assisted by assault guns. The Romanian Corna Regiment may conduct a mobile assault if it is stacked with a German unit conducting the same mobile assault. No Soviet units may make mobile assaults. Alright. Soviet sea movement, landings in the Kerch Straits. Opposed landings, prepared assaults in the combat phase. Generally, odds comparison, combat results, effective results. Terrain, concentric assault. If a single hex of defenders is attacked by units in opposite hexes, or by units in 3 hexes with at least 1 hex between 2 of them, or by units in more than 3 hexes, add 1 to the defender's combat result, plus 1 DCR. Supply, opposed landings. Air units and air support. So, Air support units are committed to a battle after the odds are calculated but before the die is rolled. Attacker announces first, followed by the defender. Air units committed to an attack raise. Each air unit committed to an attack raises the defender's combat result by 1 plus 1 DCR. Each air unit committed to defense lowers defender's combat result by 1 minus 1 DCR. And these do cancel each other 1 for 1. Artillery and barrages. Railroad artillery. Barrage table. Artillery strength points firing. 1 die 6 with some modifiers. Soviet Black Sea Fleet. Firing barrage. Special units. Romanians. Okay, Romanian units attacking alone with no German units in the same attack. Must take all losses as retreats rather than step losses. Mountain infantry. Both Romanians and Soviets have infantry classified as mountain infantry. The Romanians also have a brigade of mountain howitzers. Soviet anti-tank units. Soviet independent paratrooper battalion. Combat engineers. 300th Panzer Regiment. This was the first German outfit to deploy the wire-guided explosive-packed Goliath demolition tanks. It never makes mobile assaults. In German prepared assaults, before odds calculation, roll the die. On a roll of 1 or 2, deduct 1 point from the Soviet defense factors available for that battle. On a roll of 3 or 4, deduct 2 factors, and on a roll of 5 or 6, deduct 3 factors. (30th Corps assault boats and the German Arco counter. The Arco counter is provided simply as a convenient way to alleviate the problem of large stack of artillery in one hex. Okay, the 147th Coastal Artillery. This unit is a railroad artillery unit. Flak, Soviet cavalry charges. So those are the special units. Then we have special rules. First turn supply, first turn Soviet retreat, first calendar month operational transfers. Soviet mandatory assaults. And fog of war, examining stacks, Soviet holding boxes. How to win. The German player wins the game by totally clearing the map of Soviet ground units at the end of any of his player turns, including the last. If he fails to do this by the end of his last player turn, in calendar month 8, the Soviet player wins the game. Soviet prestige victory. Play stops and the Soviet player is declared the winner of a prestige victory if by the end of the second calendar month, December, the German has not succeeded in putting Sevastopol under siege. Sevastopol is under siege if hexes B8, here the broken terrain east of Sevastopol, C8, okay, the north of the Chernaya River, where this railroad is going through, in D7, okay, north of the Kacha River, between the Alma and Kacha rivers on the coast there, are German Romanian occupied. So Sevastopol is under siege if these 3 hexes are German Romanian occupied. Or he, quote, he can do it the hard way, unquote, by occupying C7 and B7. Right here, closer to Sevastopol. The German player must maintain the siege, check at the end of each of his player turns, or forfeit the game. Once the Sevastopol hex itself comes under his control, the siege requirement is abandoned for the remainder of the game. So that's a preview of Crimea by Ty Bomba, operational Eastern Front campaign. The Axis obviously need to drive on and siege Sevastopol, and the Soviets are not only going to try to prevent that, but will be dealing with this very constricted terrain. So we'll take a look at this later.